Hi everyone, welcome. It's Mike from Lanzarote Information with this week's news and weather from your favourite island. Now, those of you who watched last week's bulletin will know that we are travelling at the moment. We're filming this today in our hotel room in Aranjuez. This is our lovely hotel room in the NH Collection Palacio, and the view from our living room window is absolutely epic. This is the King of Spain's Spring Palace, built by Felipe II in the 16th century, and it's where the king and the courtiers and the royal family would come for the spring to do some hunting in the woods around here and to stay in this town of Aranjuez. We left Lanzarote last Saturday. We got on the ferry at Arrecife on Saturday evening and we arrived in Cadiz on Monday morning. We spent a couple of days in Cordoba and then we drove further north to Aranjuez, which is just 50 or 60 kilometers away from the capital, Madrid. And today we're bouncing on once again to Zaragoza, which is going to be our next stop in this tour of a lot of Spain over the next few weeks. So for that reason, I'm going to keep these bulletins short and sweet to save the editing time. We're going to skip for the next couple of weeks the useful Spanish phrases and also the 3 things to do if you are on the island next week. Just go to lanzaroteinformation.co.uk, click the button that says what's on, and there you'll be able to view all the events that are going on the island next week, the week after, or even for your dates in October, for example. So on with the news proper now, and strong winds battered Lanzarote on Wednesday of this week. It's been really hot all week, but these winds came out of nowhere on Wednesday and they were up to 80 kilometers an hour. And it was enough to bring down a lot of palm leaves, 1 or 2 palms, and also lift the roof off some buildings on the island. The emergency services had a very, very busy day. And next up, a 29-year-old man was seriously injured in one of those off-road buggies when it overturned. Now, what isn't clear yet is whether this individual was just out on his own in a buggy or whether it was part of a group tour. That information hasn't come out yet. But the bottom line is that emergency services were called. He had to be transported very quickly to Arrecife General Hospital, where I gather he is still in a serious condition. So our fingers crossed for him. Now, the taxi service. The Canarian government, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there has been a moratorium for some years on allowing Uber and Cabify and those kind of ride app hailing services to be available on the islands. A moratorium means that they can't actually apply for a license to operate in the islands. The Canarian government have decided just this week that they are going to extend that moratorium by another 12 months. Which I think is, personally, I think is a real shame. Uber, Cabify, it would bring the taxi service of the Canary Islands up to modern standards, which it definitely isn't, as I say, in my opinion at the moment. But that moratorium is going to be in place for another 12 months. The Canary government say that is to give the taxi firms a chance to start to operate more effectively going forward. And quite honestly, the service would work well if they had a proper app that you could use in multiple languages to summon a ride and see when your ride is arriving, pretty much in the same way that Uber and Cabify operate. So no Uber, no Cabify in the Canary Islands for at least another year, but hopefully the existing taxi service will be improving over that period. This next piece of news I know is going to please many, many people. The road to Papagayo, the track to Papagayo, is being completely resurfaced currently as I'm speaking. About 40,000 euros is being spent on putting more hardcore down and then crushing the hardcore to provide a smooth surface for the summer season for people who want to go down to the Papagayo beaches. Next up, we've been waiting for this news for ages and we finally now have a date for which the EES, which is the entry-exit system into the European Union, becomes effective? And the answer is the 12th of October. So anyone visiting any EU country, any Schengen zone country, from the 12th of October onwards, on your first visit, wherever you're going, it could be France, Germany, Lanzarote, or wherever, on your first visit, the machines, as you come into the country, will scan your passport, and they will take a photograph of you, and they'll prompt you how to do all of this, and they'll take your fingerprints, and that will then log you and your passport into the system. When you exit, you'll just be able to scan your passport, the gates will open and you'll walk out, and when you come back for your second and subsequent visits to any Schengen country, you will again just scan your passport, it will recognize you and know that you're in the system and open the gates and let you in. The important thing is that it's logging everybody from third countries outside of the European Union into and out of the EU. Now, tied in with that, I know a lot of people have been asking about the ETIAS, which is the visa waiver scheme. Now, the aim for ETIAS is that it should become effective within about 6 months of the EES going online. So the idea is that the EU will make sure that the entry-exit system is working properly, and then they will implement the ETIAS visa waiver scheme. And that visa waiver will cost €20, although it will be free for anyone over 70 and under 18, and it will provide them with entry over a 3-year period for, as I say, €20 to any of the Schengen zone countries. It's very similar to the system that the United Kingdom has, which is called the ETA and costs £16. And that allows people from outside the United Kingdom to visit the UK without having to get a visa to do so. And it should be noted that ETIAS is a visa waiver. It isn't a visa, so you still have the same rules that you can only come and visit any of the EU countries for 90 days in any rolling 180 days. It's basically saying that I don't need a visa because I'm only coming on holiday. Our penultimate story this week, a couple of shopkeepers in Playab Blanca have been sentenced to 6 months in prison, although it has been suspended for 2 years, for selling fake designer goods. And these two individuals were selling Louis Vuitton bags, Christian Dior perfumes and all kinds of stuff. And they've been sentenced quite rightly to 6 months. They have to behave themselves for a period of 2 years, otherwise they will go to prison for that 6-month sentence. My personal view is that there's no place in a modern upmarket tourist destination like Lanzarote for fake goods. Even if they're obviously fake, they are still ripping off somebody else's brand. And the final piece of news for you this week, the wine harvest is underway in Lanzarote, and the Canary Islands has the earliest wine harvest of any Northern Hemisphere wine producer. The prediction this year is that the yield, the tonnage or kilogrammage of grapes being gathered is going to be low because weather conditions have not been good for the grape growing season. Fingers crossed though, normally when the yield is low, the quality is very, very high. So we'll find out over the next few weeks what the quality is like. But that harvest is underway. If you're on the island, it's well worth going along to La Heria, the wine region, to actually see how it's done, because it's all done by hand. Because of the way the vines are planted deep into the ground to get their roots into the soil, it's impossible to get any kind of machinery in there. So the grapes are all gathered by individuals, climbing down into the holes and bending over, cutting them and putting them in baskets, which then go into the back of pickup trucks and are taken to the various bodegas to have the juice squeezed out of them that will eventually be made into wine. So that's it for this week, short and sharp, and it will be for the next 2 or 3 weeks. But we'll be back on the island in the middle of August, and we'll get back to our normal routine of Spanish phrases for you and 3 things you could be doing next week. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you found it useful, please give us a like. If you have a question or a comment about anything I've said in this or anything relating to Lanzarote at all, just put it down below in the comments. I read every single one of them, even when we're traveling, and I'll definitely answer your questions while we're on the move. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye for now. Bye. Hey Jules, are we packed?
All done, let's go.
Let's go.